Yeah, well, what I've read is that Omicron is spreading in many cities, in many places in China. I think Shanghai is just tip of the iceberg, and we know how this virus spreads. It spreads very fast, and I think so far, China's government has been fairly successful using the traditional tools to tackle it. And so again, they're using that. But what I'm concerned a little bit is that whether the situation has entirely changed, whether the old tools will be still effective enough. I make an analogy here. It's almost like, doing the PCR test and screening out people at this point as fast as this virus spreads. It's very much like counting the number of wildebeest crossing the Mara River. I mean, it's happening so fast, and the process itself, whether it can be able to catch up with the speed of the transmission, it's still much in the air. But I think the government doesn't have much of a choice. It's doing its best. And I know I've read that many local governments in China have been very much strained at this point. And it's a very tough battle.
One cannot help but have some kind of flashback to the start of the pandemic. Of course, it all happened in Wuhan, and then we all know what's been happening in the last 2 years globally. Talk to us about the lessons learned. How worried should the rest of the world be right now when we hear about this outbreak at the moment in China? Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of concern about the impact on the economy. We have clearly, the first quarter economic data is going to be horrible. China has stated, the government has stated that for this year, the GDP growth target will be 5.5%. But if you look at the situation right now in the first quarter, I don't think we're anywhere close to that. So there's a lot of concern about the impact on the economy, and I think it's also some fatigue in the sentiment of the public. People have been seeing this, and also people have been reading about this in the rest of the world. And I think we all know that many governments in other countries have adopted basically 100%, 180-degree turn in terms of policy. So
right.
I think people are seeing these things, and they are really worried about their own well-being and whether this policy is still going to be effective anymore. I think I've also read that there's also a debate within the medical public health community about this strategy.
Right.
But again, I would emphasize that the government's probably doing the best it can with available what it has right now.
Exactly.
I don't think it has much of a choice at this point.
Well, certainly when you talk about COVID fatigue, I have no doubt that many people across the globe can relate to exactly what you are talking about. Professor Gog Jiong, thank you so much for your insights. Appreciated. Live from Petah Tikva. Be well.